singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy first week of May. You are back here on the Justin Moore podcast with me, JR the Handler, and my brother on the Zoom machine today, Justin Cole Moore. What's going on in Arkansas, JM?
Man, we are getting ready for a storm, I think. It's been beautiful here the last few days, but it's looking pretty grim outside right now. But all is well. Been playing some softball and trying to make it through another week, my man.
I hear you. Yeah, we've had spotty weather down here. You know, it's hit and miss, but we've had some storms and rains. And today it's kind of overcast. I've got family coming in for Mother's Day. Gran and Aunt Paul are coming from Jackson. Mom's coming. We're recording today for everybody. May the 4th. May the 4th be with everyone on May the 4th. I'm flying down tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, to Tampa to ride back with my brother and baby Aiden, and just to help him in the truck ride all the way 7 hours from Tampa back. I'll play with the baby so I don't have to stop and all. So I'm going to fly down there in the morning. And basically, He's going to pick me up at the airport. We're going to turn around and come right back. But
yeah, there you go.
When we get back, Gran and Mom and Aunt Paul and everybody will be here. So my plan is, if this weather will hold out, I got to get on this yard. I let it go last week because it was wet. The yard was wet, but now the weeds are up and the grass is high. So I got to get it whooped into shape because this is the first time Gran and Aunt Paul have seen the new house, because we moved in here. I've only seen Gran and Aunt Paula once since Christmas of 19. Because of the pandemic and whatnot.
Crazy.
And them, at home. So this is the first time they come, so I want it to look as good as it possibly can,
Right.
So I've got to work on that today, so I'm hoping this holds out. But I'm looking forward to a fun little podcast this morning.
Yeah, for sure. So you're finally getting Jamie to come down. This has been in the works for, 8 months?
Yeah, he came down once for a day or two a while back with the baby. I guess that was in the end of last year for a few days. But yeah, so they're finally go get to come and hang and with everybody, getting the gang back together. So
that's my buddy.
Yeah, I know, your best friend. I know. For everybody out there listening, if Justin could swap me and my brother, and I could be an insurance guy, my brother could be his tour manager, he'd probably do it. So there you go.
No, I do love him, but
I do too. I mean, not just because he's my brother. We say this about everybody, but he is a great human being. He is just.
No, he really is.
He's a good guy. He's just normal, down to earth, but just leads that positive. He tries to be positive about everything, and he's
good for you.
Good for you.
Good
yeah,
for you.
You should. Yeah, y'all should. Y'all should.
Y'all deserve that.
Y'all deserve. Y'all should just go have a day off, have some drinks, eat whatever you want. Don't work out, relax. And then maybe the next day get up and have a little nice workout and continue on. But if you don't, that's fine too. Just you should.
Yeah.
So,
but that'll be good, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned looking forward to today's show, and I am as well. We got a guy coming on who I've never met. I don't know if you have or not, JR, but I've never met. But we're going to get an opportunity to talk to, I don't know if you call him a new artist, but newer than us, I guess, Jameson Rogers, who had one of the biggest records of the year in country music last year with Some Girls, a huge hit. I know when we were at the beach last year, I mean, that song was just playing like every third or fourth song, it seemed like. And, sometimes I'm a little grumpy and don't like much of anything new coming out, but I really, really dug that song. And so looking forward to talking to him. He's a Mississippi native, so I'm curious if he's a bulldog or a rebel. I haven't a feeling that he may be a rebel because he grew up in Batesville, Mississippi, which is pretty close to Oxford.
Right.
But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Hey, on one of his new EP he's got out right now, he's got a song about Mississippi on there, and he mentions both. He mentions Bulldogs and Rebels. So I'm like, I don't know either.
So I'm curious.
Yeah. But, I grew up in Alabama is technically closer to the other school, but I'm a
we don't
guy.
speak their name.
Yeah,
but
right.
Yeah, the other school.
Right. You do not notice any of their colors anywhere in my podcast land here. So
yeah. So look forward to talking to Jameson Rogers and honestly meeting him again. We haven't met him, but that'll be fun. And then we'll give you guys a little bit of what we've been doing since last week. Last week we had on Matthew freaking McConaughey, which was I'm still scratching my head as to how in the world that happened, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. Maybe we'll get into some of y'all's comments later on in the show after Jameson gets out of here.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely got a little definitely got a little bonus street cred walking around this week, running into people around.
Yeah, right. Nobody now can. Decline our invitation to be on this because it's not a big deal.
Right.
They can say no due to scheduling conflicts, etc. But they can't say I can't do it because it's not that big a deal because we had. How do you top Matthew McConaughey?
Right. Well, and I told.
Unless you have Clint Eastwood on or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to top Matthew.
Sam Elliott and Clint Eastwood. Those would be some good ones.
There you go.
Let me write that on my list here.
Yeah, exactly.
See if I can DM them. But yeah, well, and I told some of my friends, they were like, "Yeah, that's so cool." And I'm thinking, and I said, "Yeah." And 2 weeks before that, we had on Travis Tritt. I'm like, and if you go back and look at the guests we have had some great guests on this podcast since the inception. The first one was Brantley Gilbert.
Yeah, I don't know. You and I just kind of sit here and go after we get finished with an interview and go, "How the hell did that just happen?"
Mm-hmm.
Like we're just two hillbillies from the South, and play music and run the music behind the scenes and all that. And that's great and a blast, but we just kind of go, what? Yeah. I think this was the first time, maybe in my career, that my wife has been impressed.
You're right.
She was like, all right, I guess. She actually told me the other day, she goes, because we used to have this joke, she goes, I don't know if you've made it yet. I don't know, I'd have number ones or whatever. I don't know if you've made it yet. And she goes, all right, I guess you've made it.
What after number 8? It's like, all right, 8, you're in. You're finally good. 9,
after Matthew McConaughey texts me.
Right.
Anyway, it was a blast to have him. And
yeah.
He was just, man, I had friends text me, go, man, he was just as cool as I thought, I hoped he would be.
Yep.
And, just so down to earth.
Yeah.
And look forward to hopefully getting him out to a show at some point and maybe me and him catching a ball game and all that. But
yeah, for sure.
Before we dive into anything else, JR, I want to show you something that I don't know that I haven't shown you, and I don't know if you're even aware of. Maybe you are. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did.
You talked to
Buzz Brainerd.
Yeah, you talked to Buzz the other day. Had a little surprise, didn't you?
Yeah. Buzz Brainerd is on Sirius XM, and he does a Music Row Happy Hour, which is a big deal, and usually does it from Margaritaville on Broadway in Nashville. I believe it's daily, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It's every week at least. I know that, but I think it's actually daily. And so I did a thing with him, and was pumping the new album, and he had a surprise for me, which I don't even really understand what all this means, but I know it's a big deal because everybody made a big deal about it. But we just surpassed 3 billion with a B.
Yes, sir.
Streams on Pandora, which Pandora is a part of Sirius XM now. I think it's called Sirius XM Pandora now. But anyway, I brought the plaque in because you didn't get to see it.
I
thought I would show the folks out there watching.
Oh, yeah. Looky there.
I mean, how cool is that?
Looky there. Yeah, we were supposed
I don't know
to.
if you guys can tell out there, but
we were supposed to do a show this weekend, and I was going to drive up and bring it to you and just have it and surprise you with it. Well, then that show got moved to later in the year, so we could do it full band. So then we had to abort, and then we had to get your dad involved and stuff. But yeah, it was a little dance between Ashley and Pete and George and I dancing, trying to get this worked out without anybody knowing because we wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah,
And I was surprised when they said that. I said, oh, million? No, billion. I was like, oh, billion. It's like, oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, the figure he told me how many we did, how many streams we did a week was just something. It was like 500,000 a week or some crazy something. And but anyway, he named 8 or 10 other artists like Elton John and Aerosmith and who were in the same club, and my reply was the only difference between me and those folks is they're actually billionaires, like real billionaires,
Right.
on top of being Pandora billionaires.
Right.
But anyway,
you still have to cut your own grass. They do not.
yeah. But anyway, just a huge honor, and certainly want to thank all the fans out there who go on Pandora or anywhere and stream our music. It's just really, really neat, man. It just, putting this, which is our 6th studio album out straight out of the country, and reminiscing about the ones that came before, it really just kind of shines a light on how fortunate that I am to be doing this for as long as I have been doing it successfully, and radio still playing our records. We're inside the top 20 this week.
Yes.
We didn't have much.
Yes, I wanted to
which is the
mention that,
first
sure.
single from straight out of the country, and just it's pretty neat. And I got that gift. You mentioned Mother's Day, so Mother's Day is upcoming. We'll be at a softball tournament, which honestly, that's probably the greatest gift I could give my wife. She would prefer to be there than anywhere. Mm-hmm. But this past weekend was my mother's birthday.
Happy birthday, CC.
So, yeah, she was 62, I believe.
Yeah, my mom will be 62 this year. Same. Yeah.
So we went to Branson is like 3.5 hours from where we live. So we just, on a whim, said, hey, why don't we go to Branson for a couple of days? So we rented a place on Table Rock Lake, which is beautiful, up in Josh's neck of the woods. And we went to Silver Dollar City, and we went to Aquarium, and we went to, these different places, Ripley's, believe it or not, and all this stuff with the kids. And we had a great time. We didn't do a whole lot. We just kind of hung out with mom and dad and the kids, and went to Silver Dollar City, which is a theme park up there for those who are not familiar. And me and Ella and my mom rode every roller coaster there is, while my dad and Kate stayed with the little ones and did the kiddie park stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we had a good time. But they presented me with this there. So, anyway,
cool.
it was a really good weekend for us. So,
Yeah,
hopefully you had a good weekend. I know you were going out on the boat, weren't you?
Yeah, we did. Congrats on that too, buddy. I've been meaning to. I was waiting to make sure it all happened before I said anything.
Yeah,
Congrats
thanks,
on that,
man.
buddy. Yeah, and the number 20 song in the country right now. Which, before I forget, I know we had made the comment a while back, and you have to give her some crap next time we see her. But last time we were together, Lainey had jumped you, and then now this week you jumped
right.
Lainey. So Lainey's at 22, and you're
that's
at 20.
right. I didn't even think about that, but I was a little perturbed at her
She
for
comes up
jumping me.
6 weeks, goes up here, jumps like, hey, Missy.
Yeah. Hey now. So got her back. So. Hey,
But she's climbing too.
It would be awesome if we both ring the bell in like back-to-back weeks or
swap
something
it.
like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yep, no doubt.
Regardless of order.
No doubt.
So.
Hey, and while we're talking about charts real quick, Jameson has got his song out that he does with his buddy Luke, who he writes with. His song's sitting at 33 this week, so it's climbing fast as well.
Nice.
And our old buddy Jake Owen, our old golfing pal from Florida, is sitting on top of the charts this week. So I want to give a shout out to Jake. And then
we need to get Jake on. We
Yeah.
keep forgetting about Jake. We need to get him on.
Yeah, I want to send some thoughts and prayers out there. He's had something with his daughter recently. I don't know the exact details of it, but everybody keep Jake and his family in your thoughts and prayers about that. I don't know exactly what it was. I think he said everything's okay, but I guess they went through some stuff. So hope all that.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, I just saw something about that recently. But so Jake's at number one. Then your old buddies from your old first touring days, Rascal Flatts guys, are back on the charts. Just jumped from 7 to 2 this week with How They Remember You, their song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, Gary singing Sun Gun. Our old buddy Church is rocking on up there. The usual suspects most of the way down. Miranda's on there. Chris and Kane got a song rocking. My brother Cole, Blake, the usual suspects. And Dan and Shay, which I know you told me off air earlier, you had talked with Shay because he's from Arkansas, and we're going to get him on at some point this season to talk hog sports and growing up in the natural state. So,
We've talked to him, or I've talked to him a number of times over the last few months, and our schedule would work and his wouldn't, or vice versa. And but talked to him at Tracy's golf tournament.
That's right.
And he's like, man, we got to nail down a day to chat. So we'll have Shay from Dan and Shay on Really soon.
Yeah.
Maybe both those guys.
Yeah.
Whatever they prefer to do.
Yeah.
But I know Shay better just because he's from Arkansas. But Dan's a great guy too.
Yeah.
So we'll either get Shay on or we'll get both of them on here soon. But again today, looking forward to having Jameson Rogers and getting to know him a little bit. Because as I mentioned before, man, I've never met him.
No, I've talked to him. How he. I think we gave him a shout out for when he got his number 1 last year, and then he posted something. And I saw it, and I said, "Hey, man, congrats again. Love to have you on the show." And he's like, "Yeah, anytime." So we've talked to DM some, and then actually he sent me his manager's info, and it's JP Durant, who I've known, so I know his manager anyway, so it worked out.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this, but when we had Red Akins on, which is probably our fans or listeners' favorite guest of all time.
That's right. I forgot about what you.
I think when we asked him about new artists or something, he mentioned Jameson.
He did
as one to look out for that he liked or something like that.
Yep,
so
that's right. You say that. That's right.
So yeah, so he's a real deal. If Red Akins gives you the nod of approval,
you're doing something right.
Yeah, you're doing something right
for sure. Well, yeah.
So,
let's take a quick pause for the calls. Let our sponsors get their spot in here. I want to say thanks to all of our fantastic sponsors and people who advertise.
You can say fantabulous.
Fantabulous.
Okay.
That's my word, man. You never know. I may make a shirt out of it too. I made a shirt out of the saying Zoom Machine, and you can find that on my website under my new merch page with all kinds of fun new merch. You can get different sizes, different colors, all that stuff. So go on there and look for that. And yeah, we may make fantabulous a shirt on there too. And speaking of new shirts, I know you've got the new NFT non-fitted shirt that you just put out with the new artwork from the new album. And people can find that on your website right now. I saw a video you posted on that, so I want to tell everybody to check that out because I've actually have a few of those non-fitted tees, and they are comfy. And I can't wait to talk Tanner into skeezing me one of these on into my collection when I see him next time too. So y'all go check that out. Go to justinmooremusic.com and check out the NFT new shirt he's got going. And there's some sale on some old stock we had from last year that we didn't get to go sell on tour. So y'all check that out. And
it's not old; it's vintage.
It's vintage, yeah. It's old new stock.
Collectors items.
Right, you get to steal on this
because we didn't get to go out on tours, so nobody will have these shirts.
Yeah. So you can get that in different things like that and some of the older album stuff that we did merch for. So y'all check that out and go to jrthehandler.com and go to the swag page and check out my new page too if you don't mind. But
hey, speaking even further, not to interrupt, even further on new shirts, the shirt you got on is pretty awesome. You showed me off air.
Yeah, how about that, boys and girls? It's a bear.
It's a bear and a deer, and that equals beer.
It's a beer.
I love it.
Shout out to the Whiskey Riff folks for that. They hooked me up with some of these. This is some cool ones. I'll show you the rest.
That's pretty cool.
Too. Yeah, I'll get. They sent you some too. I'll get them over to you. But we'll shout out to those guys. Shout out to all the social media platforms out there that help us out and give us some love and keep country music rocking in the modern world. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back here in a minute with Jameson Rogers on the Justin Moore Podcast.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to announce an awesome opportunity with one of our sponsors, Bobcat Company. Today, we're announcing the Straight Out of the Country giveaway where you can enter to win one of 3 pieces of Bobcat equipment. They're giving away a Bobcat compact tractor, a Bobcat zero-turn mower, and a Bobcat utility vehicle. The utility vehicle, also known as a UTV, is one that I've been using on my tour, and I can tell you it's a great machine and one you would be so lucky to take home. To learn more about the giveaway and to submit your entry, go to bobcat.com/country. We're excited to partner with and announce that We Are Airstream, located in Chandler, Arizona, is coming soon. This is going to be the largest Airstream dealership in the nation, featuring a lush green destination park, 80,000 square foot of climate-controlled indoor storage, world-class service and sales. Visit the Mecca of Airstream at weareairstream.com for all your travel trailer needs.
Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Moore here. I want to remind everyone out there listening that my wife, Kate, has an awesome children's clothing boutique in downtown Benton, Arkansas at Central Arkansas. So if you're local, come see us at 119 West South Street in downtown historic Benton, Arkansas.
Again, that's 119 West South Street in Benton, Arkansas. And if you're not local, we ship everywhere. So you can find us at shopthislittlepiggy.com and see all that we have to offer, all that my wife Kate has to offer, I should say. Facebook, you can find us at Shop This Little Piggy AR. And Instagram, you can find us at Shop This Little Piggy AR. But check us out. It's called This Little Piggy. And see what we got to offer. ShopThisLittlePiggy.com.
Hi, y'all. This is Brandon Bing, singer-songwriter and whiskey maker. You're tuning into the Justin Moore Podcast. Visit EasyLiquor.com to grab your bottle of Bangtail Whiskey and join the Blue Collar Swaller family today. Follow us on all socials at Bangtail Whiskey for more news and updates. Now pour Jigger and take this a second ride with us.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Season 3, Episode 13 of the Justin Moore Podcast. With us on the Zoom machine now is our new buddy, Mr. Jameson Rogers. How are you, Jameson?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. How are y'all?
Good, brother. Hey, I got to do a disclaimer for everybody out there. At the bottom of your little screen, it says Sarah Allison Turner. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is not Sarah Allison Turner. I've seen her. She is prettier than this guy on here. No offense, buddy. But
I'm on Sarah Allison Turner's computer. I'm not smart enough to change the name either, so.
You fit right in with us, buddy.
Wait, here we go. I got it now. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, brother. There we go.
No doubt about it. Hey, most importantly, before we really get going here, you grew up in Batesville, Mississippi. So does that make you a rebel or a bulldog?
Dude, I knew this was gonna come. Like I was just like I've listened to this podcast over the holidays, like over Thanksgiving and Christmas when I was driving back and forth to Mississippi and going hunting.
You couldn't find anything better to listen to than this.
I was like, man, I don't know. Y'all are just. I feel like we're all the same people. So I was like, I don't know. You just like listen to like minds or whatever. And so I was like, man, I know they're going to ask the first thing they're going to ask me, Ole Miss or Mississippi State. So the answer is weird, all right? I grew up 24 miles from Oxford, and so right. I was a huge Ole Miss fan until I was like old enough to start going to parties and stuff over there. And then I know y'all both been in Oxford a good bit, and you know the crowd there. The girls are awesome to look at. But it's not necessarily my scene as I got older, to say the least. So I ended up going to Southern Miss. So I feel like I don't know. I guess I just claim Southern Miss to kind of be in the middle. You know, I'm not.
Ain't that where Brett Favre went?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm in similar. I'm in about that. You know, my family's all from Grenada, Mississippi originally.
Oh, okay.
So right down the road. Yeah, I was born in Jackson, and I moved to Alabama when I was like 6. So I claim Alabama, but I was born in Mississippi. You know, my next tattoo is going to be the states back to back with the magnolia and the longleaf pine and all that. So I claim both the sister states here. But I grew up in Alabama, and my dad was an Alabama guy, so he just made me an Alabama guy. And I grew up like 30 minutes from Auburn. I grew up on Lake Martin in Alabama, so I'm really closer to Auburn. But I grew up an Alabama fan, and I didn't get to go party at Alabama before I got to being a fan and stuff, so it didn't ruin it for me as much, you know. Same thing. I went to school at Troy State back then. It's Troy University now. So I was kind of, but I'm a Bama guy through and through. But kind of similar thing. I didn't go to one of the two big ones in the school. Went there, but I partied back in the bar band days in Hattiesburg and had a blast back there. That's a fun spot for sure.
Hattiesburg is. I had never even thought about Southern Miss until I got to college, and I played baseball in junior college there in Mississippi, and then that road kind of came to an end, and one of my best friends on the team went down to Southern to play, and I was just like, dude, y'all got an extra room open? I'll come down there and just finish school. And so I ended up doing that and roomed with a bunch of the baseball guys down there, and that's where I even started playing guitar. One of my roommates down there, Brian Dozier. I don't know if y'all follow Major League Baseball, but he was
for sure. So just in all, not to interrupt you, but just so you know, like, I'm a baseball fanatic. Baseball's my favorite sport. I picked up a guitar because I stopped growing at 5'6".
Same, dude. We might as well be brothers, man.
And realize I had a couple of opportunities to play small school college baseball. I'm talking, NAIA, that kind of stuff. But I realized early on I wasn't going to make money doing it, so I picked up a guitar. And so when you're speaking baseball lingo, you're speaking my language here.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's the baseball guy, more the basketball guy. We're both SEC football, you know.
Yeah, dude, we might as well be brothers because I can remember you came out. I feel like was it 07, 08, Justin?
Yeah, I signed my record deal in 07, and I think our first single was 08.
So I told my dad. He was asking. He was like, "What are you doing today?" I was like, "Man, I'm gonna be on the Justin Moore podcast." And he was like, "Man, my dad is the biggest Justin. He's your biggest fan ever." And so back in like 08, that was I think I was a junior in college, and so that's when I first started picking up the guitar. And so it's kind of right when YouTube was getting big too. I feel like.
Yep.
And so I remember, like it was yesterday, we'd pull you up on YouTube, and my dad, you were singing like, what's that song? Crickets are singing.
Yep,
I love that song, but he was just
thank
like,
you.
Man, this dude right here is gonna make it. I'm telling you, he's gonna make it. And at the same time, I was like a huge Eric Church fan at the time, and he didn't get Eric Church. He was just like, I don't know about that. He was like that Justin
Eric,
Moore.
I think Eric came out maybe a year or two ahead of me, a couple years ahead of me.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't really going anywhere with it. I told he was like, you better tell him that I'm his biggest fan today. So.
Well, tell him I very much appreciate it. Yeah, he has low standards, but tell him thank you so much. But
Are they still? Are your folks still in Batesville?
Yeah, they are.
And you're in Nashville now, full time.
Yes, sir. I moved here in 2010. So.
Gotcha. So you picked
JR.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
JR, we can't move off baseball that quick.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Go back. Oh yeah.
I forgot. I
was just sprinkling the groundwork.
What positions you play?
Man, I played on the infield. I should have played second base every year, but I played shortstop and third some too whenever I needed to.
So I was a catcher.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you go to college catching, you better be able to.
Dude.
Beat up the baseball.
Yeah,
and I was a contact guy. I was not obviously a power hitter by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But
I've always said the fastest way to the major leagues is a catcher or pitcher, just because the position players are unreal, man. Unreal.
They really are. They really are. So,
but
anyway,
going back to Southern Miss, when I got down there, Dozier was my roommate that year, and he had gotten drafted that summer, but he came back for the fall to kind of finish school or whatever. And so me and him, and I don't know if y'all have heard of Adam Doliak. He's a young artist here in Nashville too. But us three, we were in a band together in Hattiesburg called Silky Smooth.
Dozier included?
Oh yeah, Dozier was the lead guitar player.
Oh gosh, wow.
Yeah, I mean it was not a good band, to say the least. It was not a good band. Doliak was the drummer. He didn't even sing at the time.
Wow.
So it was interesting. We had about 10 songs. We had to play for 4 hours every night. So it was, I say
Silky
every night.
Smooth.
We played like 5 shows total. So
Silky Smooth sounds like, if you wouldn't have known, you would think you guys were like some R&B band or
That's
something.
what I was gonna say, like a college cover band, R&B band that we would have booked for fraternity parties, like Accent. Or,
we wish we were that good to get booked for fraternity parties. It was bad, but I never would have thought Dozier, man. He just retired this year. It was like, it just bummed me out so bad because, that's what I look forward to doing every night. I'd get on my phone and see what he's
doing.
Yeah, see what he did that day. And so, man, it was crazy watching him the last 10 years. It was nuts.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Spending all that time. Well, on that, so as far as pro teams, since you're a Southern Miss guy, not an Ole Miss or a Bulldog, and I'm kind of the same way. My dad always says, "Aren't you glad I didn't raise y'all to be Ole Miss fans?" And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. I've got family that's Ole Miss fans, and I got family that's Mississippi State fans, and it's fun.
Oh, dude, I mean,
and they're both disappointed.
Yeah, right. Oh God, I know. To be a state
I'm an
or
Arkansas guy, so I know the feeling.
Yeah. To be any team in the SEC West besides Alabama, it just sucks. But dude, when I was a kid though, Ole Miss, like that was when Eli was there. Like I just remember being like a kid going to those games, and they were legit. I mean, they were
Yeah.
a legit team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, so was it? So Braves? Did you grow up Braves fan?
Oh yeah, big Braves fan in the '90s, and honestly, I love Jeter's my favorite player ever. So like, I know it sucks to say I like the Yankees. I don't necessarily like the Yankees now, but I just idolized Jeter when I was growing up playing baseball. So I always liked the Yankees too, but Braves for sure. Chipper and Crime Dog and all them dudes, man. I met Klesko a year or two ago. He was a super nice dude. I'm sure
Yeah.
y'all
He's
know
a
him.
character,
Yeah,
ain't he?
Yeah, he is, man. He is.
For
He's a flat out character.
Yeah, well, Braves are sitting at 14-16 right now, which is good because they start off a little rocky. So hopefully they're going to iron it back
Yeah.
out for this as the season goes, which is kind of like the common thread. Most everybody, like you, like us, that grew up in the South back then, that was it. Most people, especially our age, before there was a whole bunch of outlets where you could find other stuff. You basically had TBS and WGN, so it was either
So
Cubs
you
or
could
Braves.
watch the Cubs or the Braves.
Yep.
That was about
Damn
it.
sure wasn't no Cubs fan.
No.
And the Braves were so awesome back then for so long.
I know.
mean, Bobby Cox and
Neon Dion. I
met-
can remember standing out front of the stadium watching
Yeah.
him drive in, trying to take pictures of him and his 6'4" Impala as Neon
Yeah.
Dion's riding out underneath the ballpark. So
Yeah,
cool.
you mentioned Chipper and Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, but I mean, golly, man, you go through that. I mean, that pitching staff was so nasty.
It was unreal, man.
And then you had like Ron Gant and you mentioned Klesko.
Yeah.
You had Dave Justice,
Yeah.
who was my favorite player growing up.
Yep.
Terry
I mean,
Pendleton.
And he hooked up with Halle Berry, which was cool as
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, that team for golly, 15, 16, 17, 18 years was just so fun to watch.
I know,
And
dude.
I wish
I
they'd
was-
have got more than one World Series, man. They should have.
I know, dude. I was listening to Smoltz the other day. I was just had it on the MLB Network, and he was. I'm pretty sure he was talking about Bonds, but he was like, "Man, me, Glavine, and Maddox had. I can't even remember the number of strikeouts they had total." And it was either Tony Gwynn or Barry Bonds, and they only struck him out as a trio, like just a couple times or something. It was something insane. I'm pretty sure it was Bonds.
Wow.
It was probably Bonds because they probably, as a trio, never struck Tony Gwynn out.
I know, ever.
Because Gwynn did not strike out ever. So
I like hearing all them stories, man. He was like Bonds. I can't remember what they were doing, but Bonds came up to him or something somewhere, and he was just like, they were in San Francisco, and he was like, "Man, I'm probably gonna hit a couple homers on you tomorrow or something." And Smoltz was like, all right, we'll see. And sure enough, dude hit two homers, and then he came up on the Braves bus and like was making fun of Smoltz after the game.
wow, that dude was unreal.
Oh, my God,
I mean, I
dude.
can't stand the Giants, but that dude was unreal.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, supremely talented cat, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, so the and then as the moving to Nashville, did you football team wise? We'll leave the SEC out because you've already covered that. Who'd you grow up liking in pro football? Were you a Saints guy?
Man, I mean, it was worse. I'm kind of like Justin. We didn't have a team anywhere near Batesville, Mississippi. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my dad, we're not really diehard anybody. Now that I've been in Nashville for 11 years, I keep up with the Titans. You
Right.
know? But I'm one of the weird ones that loves fantasy football. Like
nice.
I'm just obsessed with fantasy football every year. So I'm more of a player. I keep up with the players as opposed to I'm so weird. I'm like the most bland fan of all time. I just don't let any team of any sport ruin my day any time. So I mean, it's like
that's a good way to be, buddy. That's a good way to be.
You have a whole lot more great weekends than I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wish somebody else on this Zoom call had that same sentiment, but
Yeah. The show on Saturday night is determined by how well we do or don't play on Saturday afternoon.
And the start time of said Saturday show could depend on how that's all unfolded.
So when you hung up the cleats and moved to Nashville, was it your goal to be an artist, or did you want to just ride? Or because I know for those out there listening and watching, Jameson, before he had hit records on his own, has written a ton of hit records and had a ton of cuts with other artists as well. So I know some of us moved there and we're going to do the artist thing. Some of us moved there, we're going to do the songwriter thing, and we kind of stumble into the artist thing. What was your main objective, I guess, when you went there?
I was so green when I moved here. Honestly, like I said, I didn't even start playing guitar until I was a senior in college, and so I'm 20, 21 years old, and I'm just now learning how to play a G chord. I mean, it's like, what am I doing?
I was a junior in high school, so it's a little different. But much the same thing.
We meet so many people up here that have been playing and singing since they were, a young kid, and so it's like, man,
But they weren't superior athletes.
That's true.
That's
true. Yeah.
Because.
But man, when I being young and dumb, when you move to Nashville, you just think you're gonna come up here and get a record deal pretty fast, and it just doesn't work like that most of the time. And so when I got here, I started going to open mic nights and whatnot, and I always loved singing. I always loved to sing. But when I got here, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to learn how to write. Like, these songs that I'm hearing every night and people I'm writing with are just so much better than me. Like, I just got to figure it out. So I put my head down writing wise for like 5-6 years, honestly, and just tried to learn how to write a song. And I guess I'm still trying to figure that out. But after you put your head down and write, you get a publishing deal, and the rooms get a little better. Once you get a publishing deal, as far as the writing rooms, you get in rooms with other great writers.
You become legit.
Yeah, you get a little street cred.
Instead of being a favor you're doing for somebody.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I just kind of went through songwriting boot camp once I got the publishing deal, and after a while I picked my 4 favorite songs, threw them on an EP, and just said, we'll see what happens, and got a good reaction. And fast forward a little, couple years after that, I put another EP out with Some Girls and a few other songs on there, and yeah, I guess the rest is history.
I want to stop.
Whatever you do, it's working, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I have a little cousin who is like my little sister, niece, whatever, and she loves country music and worked at radio station here in Arkansas. Anyway, long story short, she just had her first child. And she sent me this message yesterday, said, I heard you were going to have Jameson on the podcast. Fun fact, this is a little probably weird for you, but also I thought it was kind of funny. I played music during my whole labor of my child, and the song that was playing when her daughter was born was Some Girls.
Was it a girl? Did she have a girl?
It was a girl, yeah. So
of course.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny, but you hear all these crazy stories and meet and greets and stuff of people telling you stuff. You're like, oh, okay, thank you. I thought that was kind of funny coming from my little cousin
funny,
who just had her first daughter. But
dude, I've got a funny meet and greet story. So a couple years ago, I got to go out with Combs and on that tour in 2019, and we were up in Canada. And so, like you were saying, I've written a few other songs for other people, and I would always do like a verse chorus of like the Chris Lane "I Don't Know About You" song and FGL, whatever. And so I would always go up after the show to the merch table and whatnot and meet people, and this guy up in Canada comes up and he was like, dude, you wrote that Chris Lane song? Like hyping it up. I mean, he's hyping it up, right? And I was like, yeah, man, I appreciate it. And he was like, man, that one line, girl, I know your favorite beer because you told me and I bought it. And I was like, yeah, man. He was like, dude, that is the worst line I've ever heard in any song ever. This dude he stood in line for 10, 15, 20 minutes and knew he was going to say that. I can't imagine me ever going, like, first of all, ever going up to an artist and saying something like that, much less standing in line for 10, 15 minutes knowing I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
Is that not weird?
Yeah.
He had been working on that the whole show.
Yeah.
He had his pad and his paper writing, and scratching it out.
One
had it
chance to say something to you, and that's what he comes
That's
up
like-
with. You stay in the
that's like
game long enough, you'll hear a bunch of those. Because I've heard the weirdest shit ever people
The
tell
one-
Justin. I'm just like, why would you say that?
The one that always gets me is, and I'm sure you've got this one. Oh, you play country music? Yeah. Well, you got any albums out? I'm like, yeah, a few or whatever. And they go, I ain't never heard of you, but man, I hope you do all right. And I'm like, why do they feel the need to tell me they haven't heard? Just be like, okay, cool, man, good luck or whatever. I think my favorite meet and greet story, kind of in that vein, was this girl. This was years and years ago. Walks up to me and she goes, "Oh, you're a lot shorter than I thought you'd be." And I've gotten that forever.
Yeah, I get that too.
And so I was like, I'm going to be ready next time. So the next time I get the same thing, I go, "Oh, you're a lot more average looking than I thought you'd be." And she goes, "Oh, don't take offense to it." I said, "No, you either. Don't take offense to it."
I'm still in that one for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, but
Yeah, and like I said, you
never know.
You never know. And like I said, for somebody to stand there for 10, 15, or an hour sometimes and wait to say just random stuff, but hey,
I get it. I've been in when I first moved to Nashville. You have to go back and like put yourself before you were in the industry. Like, put yourself in your 17-year-old self, Justin, before you moved to Nashville or whatever. I remember I went to a writer's night. Y'all remember Trent Tomlinson?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude's an absolute stud.
Angels Like Her is one of the best songs ever written.
I've never really met Trent. I don't know him at all. But when I first moved to Nashville, he was still pretty hot, and he played a writer's night, and I went up to him after. I mean, I'm like literally a week into Nashville, and I'm just nervous to meet I've just listened to that album a million times. You know what I mean?
That album was so good.
It was unreal. And I just walk up to him, and he sticks his hand out, and I was just like, yeah. And just shook his hand and walked off. I didn't even know what to say.
Well, at least you didn't stick your foot in your mouth.
The first time I met George Strait, I told him it was great to meet him. He's one of my heroes, and I'm like, all right, I got to go pee. And I'm like, why did you tell George Strait you had to go pee? Like, it was so stupid. Like, so ridiculous.
Hey, well, I've mentioned it on here, and I haven't told the story yet. This is a good spot to tell it, I guess. But I've got one similar to that, and I'll do the short version. I was in Vegas one time, and it was when I was working for John Party, and we had a mutual friend that was friends with Ron White, which now I know Ron. Seen him a bunch since then. So this is the first time I ever met Ron White. It's the first time I really had the big shing-ding red carpet rolled out for me in Vegas, the whole limo, backstage, all that. We're in his house on property, and then we go follow him and his guys to the green room for the show, and gets special walks us out there to the show. Then we go back to the green room after the show, and it's it's a little cloudy in there, and there's drinks flowing and all that fun stuff. And he had something, and I don't know why I was compelled to tell Ron White this, but I said something that, man, the funniest joke I heard all night, the one that got me the most, and I told the joke, and he looks at me and he goes, "That was the opening act."
Oh, God.
And I went, and kind of sunk back, and he looks at Party, and Party smiling, don't know what to say, and Ron goes, "Yeah, crawfish your way out of that one, huh? How you gonna crawfish your way out of that one?" He looks at John, he goes, "Is he fired yet or what?" And I was like, sorry, man. So then I just went and hid the corner the rest of the night. It was like, damn. It was like, I was like, of all the shit I could have said, why did I say that? But so anyway, at least y'all didn't stick your foot directly in your mouth like I did the first time meeting Tater Salad. So.
That is awesome. I'd probably do that too with him, man. What do you say to somebody that funny? I feel like he's just going to make fun of you, whatever you say.
I remember standing outside the buses one time with Rodney Character for 20 minutes thinking, is he going to say something funny? And he's just looking around like, is somebody just going to ask me to tell a joke, Andy? And I'm like, nope, I'm not going to ask. And it was just kind of an awkward. We just basically stood there for 20 minutes. Nobody said nothing. It was like, all right, well, see y'all tomorrow. Some show we were doing somewhere.
Dude, I'd probably be starstruck on Rodney Carrington, man. I feel like I don't know. I've just always listened to his stuff. I don't know. That would be strange.
Yeah, and somebody made a comment on social media stuff this past week because I don't know if you know it or not. Our guest last week was Matthew McConaughey.
I was gonna say I really hope I'm not the episode after McConaughey because the ratings and the views it's just gonna be way down. It's gonna be way down, y'all. I mean, I don't know what y'all are thinking picking me after McConaughey.
Strategery, buddy. Strategery.
What's funny about that, man, is we were actually just talking before you came on that because I was asking JR. I said, man, what were the comments? And I was expecting like, holy crap. He's like, no, people were more excited about Jameson Rogers and Bradley Gilbert, and I'm not even kidding. That was exactly what he said.
Yeah, it's
our listeners care. I mean, they're impressed, but they're more impressed by country music.
I got you. Yeah, I
got you. They're basically like, all right. So next week when you have Jameson on, could you ask him about this or something? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Wow.
But I mean, it was a good response. But that was, we did that kind of strategically. Getting on because I wanted to get you on because your new EP just came out like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So
I think we had our albums come out the same day.
I think so, man. Mistaken. I think so. I didn't realize yours was coming out that day too. So I was like, cool. I'm just putting an EP out with Justin Moore and Eric Church today. It's cool. It's all good.
Did Church come out the same day too?
I think so. Yeah.
I think he put 2 albums out that same day.
We really thought that out well.
Yeah. That was a good choice.
Hey, but people are eating it up, man. I watch and see what people are saying. They're loving all of it. People are ready, man. People are ready to get out, and people are ready to hear new stuff and get to go listen to it with their people. Justin was asking me before we got on about what I did this past weekend, and my buddy Terry Lee Palmer, John Party's guitar player, and his wife are in town. So we went out on the boat. And just seeing people out on the boat socializing with their radios cranked and just getting back to normal. It feels good. And I can tell people are ready for it. And Justin, I talked about it before you got on. I'm loving your new EP, man. I texted you or DM'd you or texted you something the other day. I was driving up to a show and. That song about good dogs, buddy. Woo.
I appreciate it.
It's got that.
It's a great idea.
It's like a modern take on the Feed Jake kind of thing, but like but just a cool way, and just the setting it up by you can always have girls gonna love you forever. Your buddies will always be there, but good dogs don't. Oh, it's just like it gets me.
It'll pull the heartstrings, man. I mean, I grew up with dogs. I'm sure y'all. I don't even have a dog right now just because it's you have to remember being a young artist, Justin. I don't even know how would I even have a dog right now. It's impossible.
Yeah.
But,
try doing it with a wife and a baby.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of fun. But yeah, you're gone all the time. I mean, in normal times, obviously.
Yeah. JR's got his there, huh?
This is Lola Girl. That's my studio dog. Say hey.
There she is. I remember being gone and being home one time for 3 days in like 70 or something crazy like that. And so when you went out and radio toured, it was like you're still going out and in and out of airports and at the station and playing for 3 or 4 people, eating pizza, not caring what you're doing. Like the artists that are coming out now, they're getting to do it from home on Zoom. And I'm like, hey, I hope they have to, not in a mean way, but just because out of fairness, they need to go out and drag their stuff through airports, 3 or 4 of them a day, and go play to people eating pizza in the conference room who don't give a rip that they're there.
Yep.
Pile up in a minivan, sleep on top of each other. Yeah.
I feel like I was the last one. Because I did that all of 2019. Because I was out with Luke, so I'd go to radio stations Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then meet up with the tour Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I mean, it was a rugged year for me, man. Just gone a lot, but I don't know. That's what you got to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if the Zoom thing we'll see. I mean, we'll see if you can make those relationships. I mean, I feel like going out and playing golf with some of those radio guys goes so freaking far. You know what I mean? Because you just bond, and I don't know.
I think with any business, but in particular ours, since we're talking about it, I mean, And honestly, man, it's why I've been fortunate enough to have the longevity that I've enjoyed is building and developing those relationships are essential.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it. And, some of those guys and gals will be friends of mine until the day I die.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just part of it, but it was. We were talking to Travis Tritt a couple of weeks back, and we were talking about the same thing. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I remember doing this." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, they got to. Surely they got to go out and do this still."
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny to think about. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this window of time has or will or won't change. The way that we conduct our business in the future, for sure.
I've been wanting to listen to that episode with Tripp, man. I started it, but I didn't get to the part where Travis was talking yet. But like I listened to this podcast all the time back during deer season because I would I'd throw in the earphones in the deer stand. You know what I mean? That's probably not all the hardcore deer hunters that listen to this and be like, this freaking guy is listening to podcast.
Oh no, I listen to something. I listen to something a lot better than this podcast, but I do definitely listen to something for sure. I keep one ear in for sure.
I've been known to smoke in a deer stand, and I don't give a damn if that's what I need to get through my morning. It's just part of it.
But I listened to the Rhett podcast in the deer stand, and I was like, I couldn't help but like laugh out loud. I mean, I just could not stop laughing at Rhett's stories, dude. It was unbelievable.
He has a photographic memory. He can remember everything that's ever happened to him his whole adult life. It's crazy.
I wrote with him like back in, or like a few months after I listened to that, and I made him retell all those stories, and it was just, I mean,
oh yeah,
it's just unbelievable.
And he's one of the greatest impressionists I've ever met in my life. I mean, he really is. But we actually referenced that episode before you came on, and I think we had asked him about who you digging that's new or just coming out or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And
you were his first round draft pick.
You heard,
wow.
Yeah, you were definitely one of them.
You were his first round draft pick. Yeah.
So we were just saying, if you get the nod of approval from Rhett, you got to be doing something.
Yeah,
right,
he's a tough critic, man. He's a tough critic for sure.
Yeah.
He's a damn country music historian, man. He knows. I pride myself on being pretty knowledgeable about the past and being able to pick up a guitar and play about whatever. But that joker right there, you can't win against him for sure.
So you said something about you wrote with Red after that, and going back to the EP In It for the Money, which I think is a great title, because if you see the title, you think, hey, that's kind of, and then you listen to the song, you're like, if I was in it for the money, I'd have quit this crap a long time ago. True story. But so you wrote Red. I didn't get a chance to look down the writing credits on your new album. I'm assuming you probably wrote most of it. Who are your writing buddies you wrote the new EP with?
Yeah, man. So I've come up with this crew, and like I said, I moved here in 2010, and I met so many writers back then that are still my boys now. I feel like a lot of people do that. I'm sure you did that, Justin. But Hardy's one of my oldest buddies in town.
I saw him the other week, actually. I saw Hauser and said, hey, buddy, what's going on? Because he's from Mississippi. He's our, I guess he's our he's our uncle from Mississippi. He's the leader of our bunch. And I said something I said, hey, I'm talking to one of our Mississippi guys next week on a podcast, Jameson Rogers. I said, you know him or something? He goes, hell, here's another one right here. And it was Hardy. They were standing side by side. So I met Hardy for the first time, and we interacted. He said, yeah, that's my bro, blah, blah, blah. It'll be fun. And so I'm going to get him on, too, at some point. But anyway.
Dude, Randy, oh, my God, dude. Talk about a singing son of a bitch. Oh, my God.
So, not to throw you off topic here, but just to go back just a second to all the radio stuff, you kind of come out, for those listening and watching, you kind of come out and do the things that we were just talking about. You go to visit radio stations, etc. But there's a group of 5, 6, 7 artists who go out and play guitar pulls, which is just you and an acoustic guitar with the same group that's coming out at the same time as you. So Hauser and I were in that same group. I got to play guitar pull after guitar pull after guitar pull with Randy Houser.
Hauser's one of them dudes. It's not many people more talented with just an acoustic guitar and singing.
No, and I always said this. Every time I heard him sing, I never wanted to sing again, ever. Ever. Especially sitting there with him and an acoustic guitar, and you're in a theater or whatever. I'm going,
yeah.
I mean, I give up.
God,
But anyway, go ahead. Hardy actually wrote the title track to my new album.
That's right. I saw that. I didn't realize that. I was listening through the record. I love the record, by the way.
Thank you. Likewise, man.
I was looking through the creds, and I think it was him and is it Thompson and I can't remember.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody else. I forget who. I'm like you.
I like Josh.
But I knew Hardy was on.
Josh Thompson, songwriting son of a gun.
He
might
is,
be
man.
one of my favorites. Yeah,
and he was one of my guys. Like, you talk about a group that you kind of come up with. It was,
dude. I remember
Josh
seeing.
Thompson.
Didn't y'all do a tour together? I feel like I saw y'all in.
The three of us.
I feel like I saw y'all in Tupelo. That trio. I feel like
we did. It was, I forget the name of that tour, but it was when Hauser had come out with "Run Out of Moonlight," and he had a big run on 3, 4, 5 in a row, and then Josh we had out opening. One of the most fun tours I've ever been a part of, man.
I bet.
You know, two of my best buddies. You can imagine, like, two of your best buddies that, and maybe that's what the Loop tour was like for you. That you go out and you just get to hang and you have too much to drink every night and play music, and it was a lot of fun because we all kind of came out at the same time. But anyway, I digress. But I would rather this be about you. Go back into your group that.
Oh yeah.
So it's Hardy. Who else? Who else is in that group?
My oldest friend or one of my oldest friends is Hunter Phelps. He's a writer here in town. Brent Anderson. Jake Mitchell, I write a bunch of stuff with Jake. Josh Miller. I'm trying to think. I've written like Chase McGill. I write with Chase a good bit. I
was going to say you and Chase need to write together.
Yeah.
We've written together a bunch. I know he's a proud Mississippi State Bulldog.
Oh God, Columbus, Mississippi, I think is where he's from. He's very proud.
But he's on fire, man.
He is.
He is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so talented.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm thinking like artist-wise, like Jordan Davis is one of my oldest friends in town. I remember writing songs with him when he wasn't even trying to be an artist at all. I was just like, dude, you can sing. Like, why are you not trying to be an artist? And he was just like, nah.
Before he had the beard?
Yeah, before he had the beard. I'm trying to think. Denning, I mean, I've known Denning a while. Yeah, it's a bunch of us, but it's cool coming up together. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Like I remember having my first cut with some other guys. It was all of our first cuts together with Florida Georgia Line, and I don't know. It's just cool, kind of sharing some of that success sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's cool because you really are all pulling for each other. I mean we're all fighting for the same spot.
Yeah.
But I mean I'm sure you have the same thing back home. People go, man, who's a dickhead?
Yeah.
Or who's really cool? Or who, you know, and I mean, really, honestly, for the most part, we really genuinely do all like each other and pull for each other.
Totally.
And, which is kind of fun. I mean, it kind of reminds me of, going back to sports, it kind of reminds me of being on a team and pulling for each other. And
exactly.
You know, you may be battling for the same position, but, you know, you pat them on the back if they beat you out for shortstop or,
hey man,
or whatever.
there's room for everybody. You know what I mean? It's room on the radio for everybody. I guess not everybody, but I mean there's room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speaking of being on the radio, so you had your first big record last year?
Yeah.
I keep saying last year, but I mean my sense of time is so off because of what we've all dealt with. But my wife and I have a place down in Florida, and we spend with our kids. We spend most of the summer down there. And I was telling JR before you came on that, man, last summer we were down there, and I swear some girls came on every third or fourth song. and I have 3 daughters who are 11, 9, and almost 7. And I'm telling you, every time it came on, they're going, some girl. And I'm going, all right, I love this song. And I'd go, who sings it? And they go, Jameson Rogers. I go, well, let him sing it then, please, God.
That's funny. I was laughing at that video the other day. One of your daughters was putting that something on your face or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't help, as you can tell. But yeah, man, just a huge record. One of the biggest records of the year last year, especially summer tune. And did you get to go out and play that live as a big record before all this shut down?
Dude, I have not played a single show with a number one song yet. That's how bad is that? That's terrible, isn't it?
We had Travis on, and he was in the same
that's why I
boat.
was
We were
asking
like,
this,
oh,
Travis.
man.
Yeah, I feel like me and Travis had our first number ones during a pandemic. Hey, man, it's all right. We'll make up for
when
some
you go
lost
back
times,
out,
you know?
this one's going to be a big hit, and it'll be rocking when you get back out. It'll be in the top 20, and then it'll have another hit. Then you have 2 hits when you get back to full tour, and so instead of having 1 hit in your tool
That's
bag,
wild,
you have 2.
man.
Yeah.
The last show we played was, I guess, last March. 2 Marches ago now. I didn't even have, some girls wasn't even in the top 40. Dang. So now the next, I'm playing the first show with Party in a few weeks, and so my second single's about to be in the top 30. So it's just.
Well,
it's
and
nuts.
I told Travis this, and I genuinely mean it. Like, I feel bad for you guys because, and in no way is this meant in a boastful way, but like one of the proudest moments for an artist, especially the first one, is to walk out on stage and say, hey, this is the number one song in the country this week.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes berserk.
Yeah.
And I feel awful for you guys that you didn't get to experience that. Now, obviously, we all are aware that there are a lot more worse things that have come from all this than not having the opportunity to do that. I'm not saying that, but as it pertains to this conversation and what we do, man, I feel awful for you guys that you didn't get to experience that, know. And I was telling somebody recently, and one of our songs, I don't even remember what song, but one of our songs became a big record during all this, and we have played it maybe 3-4 times since it's been a hit. Like when we stopped playing it was in the 40s or something, and then it became a number one. And so, and you really can tell if it's a big hit or it isn't, not because the number it goes to on the radio, but when you go play it live.
Yeah, because some artists have songs that have never even been on the radio that everyone's screaming, and that's a hit. Yeah. That's a hit. Yeah. Like if the whole crowd is singing a song, it's a hit. I don't care what number, even if it was on the radio or not. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
I'll give you a prime example. The biggest song we play every single night, and I think it went to, I don't know, 15, 16, something like that, is Beta Hook. That's the biggest song we play every single night. Yeah. And, we can play all these other songs that went further on the chart. That's the one that people care about.
Do you play Flying Down a Back Road?
We do some, and that's one of those that people sing along with, even though it wasn't a single.
Yeah, I feel like I figured that was a crowd favorite.
So that one and
Bad on My Chevy.
Yeah, that one. Like There's No Tomorrow, which you mentioned earlier, is big out there.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have to ring the bell to be a hit. You're with that for sure.
No. I mean, we were talking about Eric Church earlier. I feel like half of his singles haven't gone number one, you know what I mean? So, and he's doing all right, I guess.
I'll give you a funny story about Eric. I mentioned earlier we came out about the same time. He was a couple years ahead of me, but we were kind of in the same area, I guess, of the industry. I had a couple of singles that were hits, and he kind of the same, and he was about to put out Smoke a Little Smoke, which I think went to 17 or 18, but is huge to your point. Yeah. And he and I played a show in Evansville, Indiana at a club, and I was opening for him. And he goes, I'm going to put out Smoke a Little Smoke. You ought to put out Hank It, which was a song that was on our first album.
Yeah.
Was never a single. And I'm like, dude, you're crazy. And he goes, you need to put that out. And I'm like, man, radio ain't going to play it. And he basically said, who cares? I said that. He goes, they ain't going to play Smoke a Little Smoke either. And I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And fast forward to here, he sells 20,000 tickets a night. We sell 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a bold move, especially then, because radio.
It was different than it is now.
Yeah, radio then was
radio was king.
Yeah, it was by far king then. So now you can get away with stuff. You can have a Spotify hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or a TikTok hit. Or,
yeah. I mean,
YouTube hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a different game.
Yeah, and when we came out, the only social media out there was MySpace.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dating myself, but that's crazy.
I'm jealous. I mean, I wish I'm not meant to be look what I'm doing every day. I just can't do it.
Right.
I mean, it's tough for me, but
yeah. We talk about what I can remember when I first started in the bar band days. I would have to pull over on the side of the road and use the payphone to call the bar to make sure somebody was there to let us in and stuff.
Wow.
And get
awesome.
get the atlas out because we're going to West Virginia and I don't know how to get from Alabama to West Virginia, and stuff like that. So yeah, the game has definitely changed. But you seem to be figuring it out. Like I said, you got a song climbing again, and you rang the bell already once. You get to go back out and play a couple of big hits. And you were talking about your buddies you write with and stuff. And I know this song you got out now features your buddy Luke, who you've done some touring with. Yeah. What's on the lineup for touring? Now, I know you said you're gonna go out and do some shows with John. Where are y'all going? Where are y'all playing shows?
Yeah, I'm doing one show. It's like a one-off thing here at the Bonnaroo Farm here in Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Manchester, Tennessee, at the end of the month. So that'll be my first show. With fans in the crowd and stuff, so that'll be fun. And then just a bunch of fairs and festivals this summer, and then this fall, I'm doing just a headlining club tour kind of thing.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully we're on some festivals together and fair stuff. We'll get out and hang on the road and hang in person instead of through the Zoom machine.
I know, man. I know. What are y'all doing this summer? Y'all going out a lot?
Yeah, it looks like, man, July.
Yeah.
Starting in July, it looks like. I should say that the calendar looks a little more normal than what it has. It seems as though we're taking less and less casualties to the calendar.
Yeah.
Each and every day or week or whatever. Pretty slow until then, but like you said, a lot of festivals and that kind of stuff. When we got shut down, we were out on tour supporting our last album, and we had Tracy Lawrence out there with us, who is an idol of mine.
Yeah.
I'm sure yours.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that got kind of squandered is a bummer, obviously. But hopefully we'll get to make some of that stuff up. But, man, just a lot of – really, honestly, Jameson, anything we can go do, we're just ready to get out there and do it.
Totally.
So –
yeah, and I think we are going to make up some of the dates from the Late Nights and Long Necks tour with Tracy Lawrence and Lainey Wilson when later on this year. I know we've got a few. I hope we do more of those because, like you said, that was so fun. And we just got rocking. We did like 8 shows and then got canceled. Or 6 shows that got canceled. And now Justin's got a new album that's climbing. Tracy's got new music coming out. He's doing a 30 for 30 this year, his 30th year in the business. So he's going to put out 30 new Tracy Lawrence songs this year alone, 30 for 30. And then Laney's got one climbing that I hope rings the bell, Things a Man Ought to Know. That's
that one's going to ring it. It's going to go.
That's a great tune. So now if we put the show back out, everybody's even got more heat than we had before we took a break. So I'm like, let's put this show back on the road. So hopefully we will. But until then, like Justin said, a lot of fairs and festivals, which is good to see all these festivals, happening again because, as doing them, you get to these towns, a lot of times it's not much of a town. Well, like Manchester, Tennessee, there's not much of a town there. And they basically wait all year for those 1 or 2 big festivals where they can fill up their hotels and all their restaurants are be eaten and, all their services are needed. They lean on it's like spring break down here where I live. We didn't have it last year and it just about crushed lots of businesses, by not having that one month stretch. So not having a fair in town for 2 weeks or a rodeo in town for 2 weeks or a festival that's lasting a couple days, that's huge for a lot of these communities outside of the big cities. And I'm glad it's coming back, and a lot of people, everybody doesn't live in a big town where you can go to the big arena everywhere. You live out somewhere where you'll drive 2 hours to this field party over here for this festival and camp for a couple of days. That's part of country music, rural America.
Man, where I grew up, and Batesville may not be any different, Jameson, but where I grew up, man, the county fair, if you see somebody with 2, 3, 4 hits, you thought you were seeing Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a big, big deal.
Yeah.
You know, oh, they sing that. Oh, you know, and because we didn't get to go see superstars that often.
Dude, I remember. I think it was probably 2010 or 11. You played, and they have a Batesville festival, Spring Fest every year, and Dustin Lynch was opening for you. It was like, it's just forever ago. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember going to, like, we played a show with them the other week, but Confederate Railroad. I remember them playing at something near us one time, and my dad was all fired up. And you heard them on the radio, and now they're going to play right down the road. It's like, you know, that was huge. So I'm looking forward to getting back out on that, and hopefully we'll be doing some shows with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting for me. I've rehearsed with the band the last couple of days. First time I've played any music with them in over a year, and just got the first bus locked in. You know what
nice.
I mean? I finally graduated to a bus, so it's like, you know, I'm sure y'all can remember that feeling.
That's a huge, huge moment.
Yeah, it's a good feeling for sure.
And it's not like a pat myself on the back kind of thing. Like, it's a big deal for those out there listening and watching, because that means when Jameson gets to come play your town, he will be well rested for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, because when you're in a van and a trailer, I mean, it's hard work. And I'm not trying to get people to feel sorry for us, but it is just hard work.
It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
That's what JR always says. If it was easy, everybody'd do it.
Right. That'll weed out the week right there. You go have to lug some time. I always said, I know people who went to school for what I do, and I'm like, there was no school. I didn't know that was a thing. I went to Honky Tonk U. I didn't know that was you could go to a college and learn how to be a handler. I just, but.
Van and trailer days, I remember using a Funyun bag as a pillow.
Yeah.
It's crap like that, But hey, you mentioned your dad earlier. Yeah. So my dad is my biggest fan, and thinks every single song I write is a #1 record. So by his calculations, I have like 3,000-4,000 #1s at this point. Yeah. Is your dad kind of the same way, or
absolutely the same, dude? Absolutely. I actually wrote a song called Merle Haggard in the last couple weeks, and he is just every day I call him. I talk to my dad every morning when I'm riding into town to ride or whatever it is, and he's every day right now he's just talking about this song, Merle Haggard. Merle, that needs to be the next single. That's got to be the next single. I'm telling you, it's a hit. It's a hit.
And you're like, Dad, I haven't even cut it yet, or whatever. That's the way mine is, anyway.
Yeah, I guess he's got a pretty good ear, though. He predicted you. You know what I mean? He said you were gonna make it. Go. He said you were gonna make it.
Did
my late grandfather, who was my hero, he did this to me too. He kept going, son, I don't know why you don't just sell this song to George Strait. I'm like, well, Pawpaw, it really don't work that way. Like, I'd love to sell this song to George Strait, but it don't really work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, just sell it to him cheap. Yeah. I'm like, well, it don't. Anyway.
Anyway. Yeah. It's changing here recently. Just people back home, they're like, man, you really hitting it big time up there in the Music City now, ain't you? And I was just like, nah, I don't know what the hell I'm doing up here. You just faking it till you make it, I guess.
Yeah. How big's your house now?
Yeah. Hey, talk about you folks growing up. Did anybody in your family play or sing, or how'd that come about?
Yes, my mom or dad. My dad sings. He never really took it super serious. My granddad hit my dad's dad. I never got to meet either one of my biological granddads, unfortunately, but my dad's dad had a band with his brothers called the Delta Playboys, and
nice.
So they had a little band there in North Mississippi.
That's a better name than Silky Smooth. I have to.
I agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
You could combine it. Y'all could be the Silky Smooth Delta Players. You know?
Maybe that's what I should make my band that. Jameson Rogers and the Delta Playboys.
Hey, so and on your band, is your band the band you've had with you the whole time? Did any of those guys when you met when you got to town kind of deal?
Yeah, they've been with me for the last 4 or 5 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so pretty much.
So they're as excited to get on the bus as you are. You're not getting in new guys that are used to it and all that. Is you've grown as a unit, and now you're getting out of the van into the bus all together, which makes it sweeter.
In a weird way, I was more happy. I was happier for those guys, telling them we're in a bus now, as opposed to myself. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's been a rugged 2 or 3 years in that van. Y'all know the feeling.
Yeah, you should have got you.
It's weird.
Should have got your buddy Luke to loan you one. He's about the biggest thing there is right now. I'm sure he's got a slew of them out there.
Well, that's why I put him on this song. He called me. He's like, "Man, I'm a little broke these days." I was,
Figured you throw him a bone.
He needs a little help. Yeah. I love it.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I remember. We had Small Town USA, which was our first hit. It was inside the top 20, and we're still going to shows in a van, and I'm like going, damn, man, this ain't what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Like I thought like we have the 19th song in the country, and we still don't get on a bus.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize, like,
yeah,
you know, how
as a young artist, you're not really making money until you need a handful of hits till you're really making some real money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when you have a hit or two, you book those shows before you had the first one.
Yes.
So you're working for $1,500 a night or $2,500 a night. You know, still.
Yeah, which is about what a bus runs a day. So yeah, well,
probably more than that.
Right, when it's all said and done. But yeah, that is a huge. And when the guys get on there and y'all can all relax and y'all can work on stuff, you're not just dead tired, and better stuff's going to come out and tearing up the roads, and I'm happy for you guys. Yeah, we all remember the days. I'm glad you're there, brother.
Man, it feels good.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, well, I know you got a ton of other stuff to do today, but I had a few things I wanted to run by you. One, we need to get out of there because she let you use her computer today. You're going to join our club. You're about to be a married man for too long. You're engaged as we speak, are you not?
I am. We're getting married September 5th.
Awesome.
Be here before you know it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, congrats.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Justin's been married for about 30 years. He's 37, been married for 30 years. And I've been married for about
14 in September, actually. September 29th.
Wow. Y'all got married young then.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I signed
my record deal at my wedding.
Wow.
It just ironically happened to be the same day.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it helps me remember my anniversary.
Yeah.
Damn.
So September 5th, the big day. Where y'all gonna do it in Nashville or back home? Where's your fiance from?
She's from West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a songwriter up here, artist as well. And I met her at the Bluebird Cafe in 2011 at a songwriting workshop kind of deal. And took a few years for the stars to align for us to start dating or whatever. But once they did, the rest is history.
Yeah, well, I smell. Hey, she's an entertainer too. I smell a power couple brewing over there. Watch out.
I want her to do it. I want her to be famous so I can just hunt and golf every day. You know what I mean? Just
there
write
you
songs.
go.
Yeah, when my wife gives me static about leaving and go out of town, I'm always like, well, hey, you could sell a couple more. She's a real estate agent. I'm like, you could sell a bunch of houses. You get to doing that enough. I'll just stay home and cut the grass and cook dinner, and you could, we could trade, if you want. So, but yeah, well, and I'm sure she will. Keep us updated on that, and whenever she has new stuff come out, we'll make sure to pump it on here. And if she wants to come on, any of that stuff for sure, brother, no doubt.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and a random thing I asked Matthew McConaughey because it was in his book, and I'll just, if not. Did you grow up watching wrestling?
Oh my God, did I?
Okay, that's what I figured. For the South, and I asked Matthew McConaughey who his favorite wrestler growing up was because he mentioned it in his book, and it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah,
which I thought was a good one. And I know the legend, the $1 Million Man's from right down the road in Jackson, Mississippi. But who did a young Jameson Rogers look up to as a wrestling superhero?
Man, it's hard to pick. I mean, as a young kid, it was hard not to be a
Hulkamaniac.
Hulkamaniac. But as I got a little older, I started rooting for Bret Hart a little more.
The Hitman.
He was my guy.
I hear you. I was a Road Warriors.
Yeah,
Hawking,
I like
Hawking
that.
Animal.
Yeah.
That was
Absolutely.
and the Four Horsemen. I'm a wrestling nut. And then we've befriended Diamond Dallas Page as a buddy of ours now. So
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
yeah, so he
DDP.
so he's rejuvenated our love for wrestling again. And
Sting, I remember Sting.
Sting.
Was cool.
Yeah,
Sting.
Ultimate Warrior. That whole era. Jake the
Totally.
Snake.
Oh yeah.
So and
Jerry,
Justin was actually DDP was your guy, wasn't it, Just?
he was my favorite, and also like Goldberg,
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
because I was a WCW guy.
Yeah.
I know, JR, you were more of a WWF guy, weren't you?
I was kind of all of it. Kind of like now with music, I even watch the little small stuff. I would go to the
But I just love Goldberg. He came out and the sparks were flying. He's like
shoot the
all that
smoke.
stuff, you know.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me they played football with him at Georgia.
Rhett.
He played at Georgia.
It was Rhett.
Was it
Rhett.
Rhett?
It was
That's what it
Rhett.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Damn.
could
Yeah, Rhett was playing quarterback while that dude was playing linebacker.
defensive
or
end
out.
or something. Yeah,
That's when I tap out. I'm out.
right. So all right, there got another wrestling guy on the cast. That's always good to know. And a thing we do here a lot of times is the number one song on the day, the number one country song on the day you were born. And for Justin he's a 330-84 guy. His was Alabama's Roll On 18-wheeler.
Ooh.
That's a good one. And
That's hard to beat.
I'm a 9/11 1979 model, and mine was Conway Twitty's I May Never Get to Heaven.
Okay.
Another
Okay.
classic. But you may have the best one of all time. I mean,
What do we got?
one
What
of
do we
your.
got?
I'm gonna give y'all a chance to guess. So if I'm right here, you're September or October 17th, 87.
Yep.
Right. Does anybody want to take a stab? This is a great country tune it's by a band that really didn't have a lot of big country hits, but they were so influential on the music side of music for a long time, and probably one of the best playing bands there were. And man, when we say it, we're all going to. I mean, this has been saying it. This has been saying it as many country shows and festivals and covered.
Fishing in the Dark.
There you go.
No way.
Dirt band, nitty gritty dirt band, fishing in the dark. Good job, JM. There you go.
Wow.
When you said it, when you said it, it's been saying it
yeah,
every show or that kind of in that era.
because sometimes
That
you
song-
What's more famous than
That song almost doesn't even feel like it. For whatever reason, it is a country song, but it's almost like it doesn't even register in my brain as a country genre song for whatever reason. It's like Wagon Wheels it was at first before Dairy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's like a, I don't even know what you would call that. It's like a genre of its own almost, but
I guess
it's a monster, is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
it's like primitive Americana, but but definitely a.
damn,
you
that's gonna be
understand.
hard to beat, boys.
That's what I
gonna be hard to
said.
beat.
And a lot of times we'll get on here.
I think Jameson Rogers takes the
He's got
crown.
it. Kevin Nagandi.
I don't
Kevin
see it
Nagandi
being
had Freddie Fender till the last teardrop falls, and that's a
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah.
But right, Justin, roll on 18-wheeler. I mean, don't sleep on that one. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but Fishing in the
that's
Dark.
what I
mean,
said
come
when
on.
I pulled it up today.
Look.
I was like, "Wow, he's got a good one." Fishing in the dark. I mean, like, oh, no.
I mean, Dust on the Bottle or Sweet Home Alabama or something
Yeah.
like that can compete, but I don't know.
That's a tough one there. So there it is. That's Jameson's song, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And hey, the Circle Be Unbroken Nitty Gritty Dirt Band is my album find of the week. I've got all of them here. They've got 3 different models out. But if anybody wants to hear some good music with traditional country, go back and get Nitty Gritty Dirt Band's Circle Be Unbroken albums. The first one's like in the 70s, but they had Mother Maybelle and I mean Doc Watson, and it's just incredible, the whole lineage of that thing. So y'all go check that out. But that's Jameson's song, "Fishing in the Dark." I'm sure somebody's playing it on a boat or at a party. Like you said, it's almost just like I don't know if it's a southern song, but just a rural song.
Yeah.
It's like a standard.
It's just a standard.
Yeah. As many times as I've played that, I never knew that was number one song on my birthday.
Now you
That's
got
funny.
now you got a new fact. You can play it on your birthday at the big shows. But that's about all I got. I don't know if you got anything else you want to drop. I want to say thanks for coming by. I want everybody to go to JamesonRogers.com, check out his new EP. in it for the money, and try not to be driving to be in a sentimental moment when you hear Good Dogs, because that will make you pull over and shed a tear. But want y'all to go check that out. And, man, we appreciate having you on, brother. If there's anything else you want to drop on us, please do.
No, dude, I appreciate y'all having me, man. I'm a fan of the podcast, fan of you guys, and yeah, I guess Justin, what would you tell me, like, as you go back to your having one hit self and about to have the world in front of you? What would you say?
Man, early on I was a chart watcher.
Yeah.
And worried about every single thing every week, how many spins we up, how many we down.
Yeah.
And worried about just everything, to be honest with you. And I guess the older I got, or the more comfortable I got with doing this as a job, I learned that it was probably most healthy for me to worry about controlling the things I can control and not worry about anything else.
Yeah.
And I've been a much healthier human being since that point. And so, and I told TR this a long time ago too, because we're on the same label and got to know each other. I became friends with his dad, and then with him when he got signed, and he had a single or two that kind of flopped or just didn't do as well as he had hoped. And I was like, man, cream always rises to the top, I promise you.
Yeah.
It does. And so to me, those two kind of go together.
Yeah.
So as long as you keep writing great songs, man, and recording great songs, and again, man, just don't worry about why is so-and-so winning this award when I sold, twice as many tickets as him or her. And I did that early on, and once I stopped worrying about all that stuff, it became much easier to navigate these waters, if you will.
That's good.
So I don't know if that's
great.
great advice or not, but and a long time ago, somebody told me, it was my manager, he goes, if you walk in the room and you're the smartest person in there, leave. And that's
never the case with me.
That's great advice too. So but anyway,
I say on that too. I'd say and now that you got your bus, get you some rest, take care of yourself. Don't stay up all night. That's fun for a little while, but that wears on you eventually. And take care of your people.
The other thing, kind of in JR's in response to that, enjoy this every day, because there were times that I was worrying about stuff or whatever where I really didn't. You're just trying to get through the next day and get to the next goal all the time. Like, I need to have another hit, I need to do this, and I need to put this next album out, and I need to sell X amount of tickets. Enjoy what you're experiencing, because I probably didn't do that well enough either.
Yeah, that's great.
Take a moment and go, this is pretty freaking cool. Because now I can look back on it and go, somebody will say, you did this or did that or whatever, and I go, wow, that was pretty cool. But I probably didn't enjoy it in the moment like I should have.
Well, everything's moving so fast, you know what I mean? It's hard.
Exactly.
It's hard to. I get that, though. That's great advice. Sorry to put y'all on the spot. I just
No, for sure. Hey, before we get you out, we'll get you out of here with this. We do this too, and I'm surprised JR didn't bring it up. Kind of cheesy, but we do it. So we've decided that, and if you listen to the podcast, you've heard us say this. It's impossible to come up with a Mount Rushmore of country artists.
Yeah.
A definitive collection that everybody can agree on. That's just it's too hard.
Everybody kind of has their own personal one. So hopefully we're not putting you on the spot. What is your Mount Rushmore?
Are we just talking like personal, like it does, like aside the ones that should, like, people are going to say should be,
Yeah, because you could say, well, Dolly has to because she was the biggest. George Strait sold the most, but Hank Sr. started it. But so just your personal.
Man, I'm definitely going Hank Jr. I think he kind of checks all the boxes as far as songwriter, singer, entertainer, musician. I mean, he's unbelievable.
He's the best it's ever done.
Probably so. Probably so. I mean, I don't know how you don't put Garth in the top 4. I mean, it's just he's kind of like Tom Brady with the rings. You know what I mean? It's like, how many records does one need to sell to be the GOAT? You know what I mean?
Right.
Damn, it's tough, man. I mean, I think Merle belongs up there for me, and
See, Mississippi guy, you'd almost have to say you'd have to go with Jimmy Rogers, but then
well, yeah, I mean, he's the OG. He's the OG GOAT, man. He's the OG GOAT. Yeah, we'll go Jimmy. We'll go Jimmy, since he kind of got it all. He got it all going for us in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's just too hard, because if you leave one off, and it's like, how do you not put Waylon, or
I know
you got Hank Senior and Hank Junior, but it's just got to be personal. So you're going with Bo Cephas, Garth, Merle, and Jimmy Rogers.
Yeah, I guess we'll go Jimmy.
And Jimmy's debatable till you can figure out the other one. You're like, because you'll get off and you'll be like, oh, I should have said this one.
I know.
Well, you kind of forced it on.
Well, I wasn't trying to. I shouldn't even said that. Well, I was just saying that would be the presumable one you'd think from Mississippi.
I think Conway was born in Mississippi too.
Yeah, so JR and I have had this debate. He was born in Mississippi, grew up in Arkansas, so we can both claim him.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Let's throw Conway up there. Let's throw Conway up there in front instead of Jimmy.
Pretty iconic country guy right there, no doubt. No doubt.
So,
well, all right.
Hey, Jameson, man, it was great to meet you, buddy, and
man.
hopefully we'll have a chance to do this in person at some point soon. Like JR said, hopefully we'll play a festival or something together.
Yeah.
Or hell, maybe a whole tour when we get back out there
awesome.
doing it in full capacity. And man, really, really happy for you. And I'm a big fan of what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
You're a great songwriter. Sing your tail off, and great new album, In It for the Money. Everybody go check that out. And I'm thrilled for your success, and I wish you nothing but continued success. And thank you for spending so much time with us today. I know you got 100,000 things you could be doing.
No, dude.
You got a wedding to plan for.
I'm sure she's already got you a honeydew list like we all have.
Oh yeah.
So-
oh yeah.
But man, it truly was a pleasure to meet you and hang with you. And like I said, I look forward to meeting in person, shaking each other's hand, brother. Continued success.
Right back at you, man. Good meeting both of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure JP gives you my number, and we'll stay in touch. If you ever need anything, brother, you please let us know.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Good
right.
luck to the Hogs in baseball this season, man.
Thanks, man. We're
They'll be all right.
We got 3 series left to hang on to the SEC championship, so hopefully we can do so.
Yeah, I think
We got those Mississippi State Bulldogs on our tail, though, but
They're always there.
Both Mississippi teams are good this year.
Yeah.
they really are. Yeah, we had to play both of them at their place.
Yeah.
We won both series, of course.
Sorry. Sorry.
We swept Mississippi State, but but anyway, it's neither
Beside
here nor
the fact,
there. But thanks, man. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, boys. I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Yeah, go Eagles.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
My poor Golden Eagles.
Hey, they're usually in the hunt. They're good too. Hey.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Boys.
Thank
Y'all
you,
be
brother.
good. See y'all.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, there he was, Jameson Rogers. Everybody, what a nice guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, as we always said, just down to earth, just nice guy. Cool story. Kind of like, it kind of seems like that's the path. It's either you play sports growing up and you end up into music somehow, like he was talking about his buddy Adam Doliak, or you make it in sports, or
Dozier.
Yeah,
Brian Dozier.
I know, right?
He's one of the biggest names in Major League Baseball in the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Huge.
And he was the lead guitar player in his band in college.
Drummer, I think.
No,
or lead guitar player.
Doliak was the drummer. Yeah. So it's either that or you grow up playing music all your life to be in the. It's just that's weird. That's a lot. That's a lot of people's path. It seems like.
Man, there are a lot of parallels between sports and music. There really are. Yeah. We've talked about it on here, but being a part of a team, leading, being led,
traveling, having to deal with
locker room,
having to deal with other people's
stuff. I'm telling you, just a lot of parallels, and pretty cool to get to know him. As we said before, I've never met him. I don't think JR has either. But what a great guy!
Yeah,
super nice guy, and a fan of the podcast.
Yep.
He listens weekly, he said.
Yep, very
so
cool.
that's pretty cool. And I thought I honestly kind of felt a little uncomfortable. It felt like he knew as much about me as I did him, like his dad.
Yeah.
That whole story. And I'm certainly appreciative.
I think you're becoming everybody that's in their 30s dad's favorite guy.
So, but yeah, really, really cool. And like I said, super nice guy. I appreciate him coming on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, that was Jameson Rogers. His new EP came out the same day as Straight Out of the Country, my new album. His is called In It for the Money, and check it out.
Yeah, it's really good. 7 songs. It's like yours. It's 7 or 8 songs, 30 minutes. But man, it's gold. It's good stuff. It's a good take on stuff for sure. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I know we need to clean up a few things here. We got a lot of it done while we had Jameson on, so thank him for staying on a little longer with us to do some fun stuff. But I had a few things I wanted to run by in sports and entertainment and stuff. One is why I got to do my little basketball spiel here, and I'm going to do a quick one today, and it's only going to be about one player, which there's a lot going on because it's everybody's vying for these playoff spots and injuries and this and that, and a lot going on. But the one that just stands out to me, and we've talked about him on here before, is Russell Westbrook's stats. Have you, I know you probably hadn't seen this morning because I keep up with more. Let me give you a little lowdown on what's happened recently with Russell Westbrook. To start off, he could record 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists for the rest of the season and still average a triple-double.
Holy cow.
Last night, he became the first player ever to not once but twice have a triple-double with over 20 rebounds and 20 assists. He had 21 rebounds and 24 assists as the point guard.
Oh, my goodness.
His stats this year, he's averaging 21.8, 11, and 11. Last year was 22, 11, and 11. Year before that, 25, 10, 10. And started this all off in 2016. He averaged 31.6, 10.7, and 10.4. He has averaged a triple-double for 5 years in a row. And to have one as a point guard to get 21 rebounds and 24 assists on top of 15 points or whatever he had, it's just crazy.
In the NBA.
In the NBA. And he's not, and this is not like some guy that just surprised him, oh, we're good, we got to lock him down. He's been in the league a while. He's a seasoned vet and still churning out these just sick numbers.
That's stupid.
I know. So I had to give a shout out to Russ Westbrook because my God, those stats are just too much to ignore right there. Well, the only player ever. I mean, you see people do this and that with joining a list, but to lead a list when you're on the Jordan's not on there, Oscar Robertson's not on there, Wilt the Stilt's not on there. It's just him with that kind of stuff. And another one on the as far as records go, I saw this. I want to give congrats to him because I've become a fan over the years. In all honesty, I wanted to be a hater at first for I don't even know why. But Carmelo Anthony came back, and he's playing a great role for Portland, who's having a good season. He was out of the league for a year or two, came back, said, I'll do whatever I need to do to make it, kept himself in shape, and now he's in the top 10 all-time scoring list. And had he not worked hard on those year or two, he didn't get picked up and stay in the game and come back and get picked back up, he would not have made the top 10. But with perseverance and staying the course,
that's surprising.
He came back on, and he's the number 10 scorer in the history of the NBA.
Well, let's be honest, though. You wanted to be a hater for good reason. He's never been a team player.
Well,
ever,
I think it was
until now.
I think mine's even more simple than that. Mine was he was from Syracuse and he had his uniform was orange and it looked like somebody else, so I just couldn't go for an orange.
For me, he's never been a team player.
Yeah, but he changed. He's
a selfish dude until now.
Yeah, and then he switched when he came back, and he's doing that role, and he's still torn. So yeah, I got to give him some props on.
Speaking of the NBA, I got to say this. Yeah. So they're doing a new thing. I'm sure you know because you're the NBA guy, where there's like a play-in spot.
Yeah, I saw LeBron saying he wasn't happy with that.
And LeBron was salty about it. LeBron is salty about it, in my opinion, because he may be in that position to have to win that one game.
Right.
In that play-in game. So do better if you don't want to be in that position.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Then stop crying about it. If you don't like that rule, then go do something about it. Go win some more games.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. And that's the thing now with the playoff stuff, but that's just the way it goes, man. These games and with college playoff adding spots and baseball, I mean that's just it evolves. You got to add new spots, you got to have new teams, things change.
And They get paid because of viewership. Viewership comes from fans. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And the rule was put in place so that teams that were basically out of contention to make the playoffs didn't just mail it in for the last 3-4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And it's working.
It's working, yeah.
I watched the Lakers and Denver last night, by the way. Denver's on a tear since dude blew his knee out, by the way.
Jamal Murray, yeah, I saw that game too.
But anyway, it's working. You're getting paid because of this rule that you hate so much.
Yeah. Well, and I know as a fan, I can remember me and your band going to watch a game one time. We were in Cleveland, I believe, and we went and saw the Cavs play Boston at the time. And exactly like you said, it was the end of the year. They were Cleveland was out. Boston was already.
They set everybody out. I'm sure.
We didn't get to see any. We didn't get to see any studs because Boston was already locked down their high seed, and Cleveland was out. It was right when LeBron left, I think. So yeah, nobody, and it was okay. It was.
Oh, right when he quit on his team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
So
shocking.
We didn't get to see any of the stars. So I'm with you on that. And we've talked about it. To me, the best part of sports is March Madness. I think that's a fair. Let everybody have a shot. You win, you go. Because if you had a good start and a bad end, you might not make it. Or if you had a bad, start and you get hot, you might could go deep. I like that. And with football, they keep adding. And I'm all about adding more spots. As long as it, you can clean up some things that don't matter. Take away the cupcake games and add more meat games, or do away with preseason stuff and just have it start. But I like it. I'm with you. And as a fan, from fan perspective, just more ball, more stuff to keep interested, and maybe it'll help weed out and get the right team who's supposed to win. Because I feel like every year, we saw it happen this year at NCAA basketball. The team that was supposed to win wins when it's happened.
Yeah.
When you do
yep.
that. So.
For sure. Couple things for me, baseball-wise. You mentioned the Braves, who are getting close to 500. They're just not playing great ball right now, but from where they started, they're doing a little bit better. My Razorback baseball team for the 7th, 8th, 9th week in a row is number 1 in the country, number 1 in the SEC. They were very close to a sweep at LSU this weekend, but they took 2 of 3, won the series from LSU. We've won every single series we've played this year, which is just amazing. It just never happens. We're a game or 2 up in the SEC with 3 weekends left, so hopefully we can pull that out. We do need your Alabama Crimson Tide to have a good showing against their next opponent. I think it's one of the Mississippi schools that's kind of on our tail. And then Razorback softball. Last night, we're recording this on Tuesday in all transparency. So Monday evening, Razorback softball, we secured our first ever SEC regular season championship in Razorback softball.
Nice, congrats.
In 20 years plus, Arkansas this year is the only team to win the SEC not named Alabama or Florida. I mean, that's a pretty amazing stat.
That really is.
In over 20 years, nobody has won but you guys in Florida.
Wow.
Until this year. So congrats to Coach Courtney Deifel and Razorback softball team. Pretty exciting stuff. So we're number 1 in baseball and number 6 or 7 in softball. So, again, I've said it. If we can just get football rolling.
Right. You'd be rocking.
We're golden.
I know.
Yeah, we got everything else rocking. But
yeah, well, congrats
anyway.
to those girls up on the hill there. That's awesome, man. And, yeah, that's a wild stat. Only Bama and Florida have held it down for 20 years. No one else has busted in with those two. That's a trip. While we're talking, another thing at sports this week, we had the draft. I don't know if you got to see any of that, where people went and stuff. I know I saw the great.
Alabama had like 10 of the first 12 taken or some stupid something.
Yeah, and
it's no wonder why they went. Obviously, they have the best coach, but when you have the best players, it's it's pretty clear that you win. You win.
And you play against the best and practice in each week. You get better and become that. Yeah, that's just how it happens. And we had congrats to all those guys. I know Jameson talking about fantasy football, and I didn't play last year, but all those years I was living in Louisiana, I would play with those guys, and I got to always draft all my Alabama guys because they would sleep on them, or Arkansas guys. I can remember getting Hunter Henry on early, and they didn't know who he was, and had a great rookie season because I knew he was going to be good. Phillip Rivers throwing it to him, but this year Mac Jones got picked up by the New England Patriots, so I'm going to have to be a Mac Jones guy. I'm already a Mac Jones guy, but I'll have to pull for them a little bit, and hopefully he'll be I'll have to have him on my fantasy team. Hopefully he'll get to play and do good. And then I saw our grading reports. I think we both got C's as far as Mel Kiper, C pluses as far as the Saints and the Steelers. But you guys went with the first pick. You picked up Alabama, Najee Harris, Bama stud running back, Heisman.
And they caught some flack over it, but I like the pick.
I do too.
I don't know why we caught any flack. I mean, he was great this year for you guys.
That's what I thought.
And we needed a physical back, so I'm excited about it. Obviously, and kind of like you saying with the Louisiana guys, I watched him all year. I like the pick.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, he can do it all. He can catch. He can run. He's a stud, and
he's agile.
And when you hear him talk, you can tell he's got his head on straight. He's going to be he's a character guy too. So,
and as far as Mac Jones, I don't think he'll play this year because they've got Cam for another year. I think they'll roll with him, but this is the first time that the Belichick has drafted a quarterback in the first round, maybe ever in his career. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, there's something he likes.
Yeah. He probably called Saban and goes, hey, what do you think about this kid? And so he could be the guy of the future for them because they're not going to roll with Cam Newton long term. They'll try to,
try to get some money or some players.
They'll try to win some games this year with Newton because Newton's pretty much done in the league, really.
Yeah.
And then I can see 2-3 years down the road. I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Tom Brady, but he's kind of that kind of guy. He's not real mobile, very smart, very accurate.
Got the same dad bod Brady started with.
Yes, yeah. Mac Jones even posted a picture of them two side by side about that. But he's kind of he definitely has some characteristics that remind you of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's going to be Tom Brady, but there are some similarities for sure.
Yeah, I hope he ends up being great, and everybody who they picked before him from all these other schools shows. I mean, why wouldn't you pick the guys who are the champions? Why would you pick the fifth best teams guy?
Yeah. Well, playing devil's advocate, what they're doing is he was throwing. He had the best offensive line. He was throwing to the best receivers. He had the best coach. He didn't have to go through all his progressions. He looked, one wasn't open, I'll go to two.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's not like it was different. It wasn't difficult to play quarterback at the University of Alabama.
Right. Well, but then I thought,
but he still did it.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it and put the ball on the money and all that stuff.
Well, and I hope the best. Me, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I hope everybody has good, long, healthy careers. But like the Ohio State quarterback they got drafted, not just this is the first one I thought of, but like him, that's Ohio State. They had great ball players. They had 5 stars all over the field too. And he didn't get it done. Mac Jones did.
Yeah.
So, but and then to all our other guys that got drafted from all our SEC teams, congratulations and best of luck in the NFL. Look forward to watching you guys on Sunday and picking y'all on my fantasy team.
I think I saw a stat SEC, which SEC sets a record every year, but they set a record this year again. I think it was 67 players drafted or something.
That's crazy.
Something like that. Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's no telling. I don't have the stat, but there's no telling how many.
I don't even know how many players get drafted. So how many teams are there?
32, I think. Yeah.
So
7 rounds.
So there's 7 rounds. So
200. And,
you go into the 3rd round with draft picks.
Yeah.
So there's only a few other rounds to pick from other teams, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Or other conferences, rather.
Yeah, the first 2 could have been all soaked up by SEC teams. So, Yeah, we'll look forward to that. And I guess unless you got anything else on sports, I want to bounce over. I don't know if you've been watching anything on TV or any new movies you want to talk about, but one I've been watching that is funny and just good. And we talked about wrestling a little bit earlier, but The Rock has a TV show called Young Rock, and it's about his life growing up.
I'm familiar with it, but I have not watched it.
It's pretty
no.
funny. It's his dad was a famous wrestler. You know, his mom comes from a lineage of great wrestlers from Hawaii and Samoa. So it's him telling stories, and it's him going to the University of Miami and playing football, and then it goes back to him as being a 8-year-old and spending a day with Andre the Giant and stuff like that. But it's The Rock in between tells stories about it, but it's pretty funny. So y'all, that'd be my suggestion on TV shows if you get a chance. Watch Young Rock. It's like, I think it's only a 30-minute show. It's like, it may be even on NBC or something weekly, but I found it on Prime or something, or Hulu, and watched it on there. You watch the whole season, but so it's not like a long hour each episode. It's 30 minutes, but it's pretty good. They nailed it on that one, I gotta say.
No, nothing new. We did go back, and I don't know why, but Kate and I went back a few days ago and watched Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, fun!
Just for the heck of it. So for go back in time, vintage kind of thing. Those were so good.
Yeah, and it's funny how
movies.
when they went to the future, and the TV was on the wall and it was flat. Most of the stuff came true.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're looking for something to go back and watch. That grouping is pretty cool. We just watched 3 a couple nights ago.
Oh, fun! Yeah, that'd be.
But over the last few days, we went back and watched 1, 2, and 3. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Yeah, and one more thing on entertainment stuff. I got to go sit down with our buddy Todd Dink and his buddy Jimmy on their podcast this past week. Every Playlist Tells a Story. It was their 50th episode. And they had me come on and we talked about music and stuff. So everybody go check out after you listen to this and download this and like and subscribe and hit the notification button and leave a 5-star rating and a short comment. Go listen to Every Playlist Tells a Story. It's a podcast I listen to every week anyway. And but I was on there last week and a little special guest spot. So y'all check that out. It was fun. Talking music with them. And actually, Jimmy, we got to talking because I'll go ahead and do this segment now. We're talking about our upcoming shows. We're actually playing. Jimmy's the building guy at one of the shows we're doing coming up soon.
Oh, cool.
At the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana, where Todd and Jimmy are from.
Yeah.
So we've got coming up not a whole lot here the next couple of weeks. So y'all make sure to tune in to the Justin Moore podcast. Next week we've got our buddy Dylan Carmichael coming on to talk about his new album that's about to come out. But until then, we've got Colorado Springs on the 29th of May. We're going to be out in Colorado Springs. Should be beautiful weather. Really looking forward to that. It's a one-off for us, but it should be pretty and it's a cool spot. So if y'all are out in Colorado area, y'all come see us in Colorado Springs on May 29th, and then we'll have that's Memorial Day weekend. And then the next weekend, which will be the first week of June, we're playing Evansville, Indiana on the 4th. That'll be at the Ford Center. So y'all make sure to get your tickets and come to that. If you're in the Indiana, Southern Illinois area, y'all come to the Evansville, Indiana show. I know there's still a few tickets left for that. Then the next night, we're going over to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, playing a new spot that I haven't been to yet, but I think it's a brewery, actually, that has a big outdoor venue there in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is right on the outskirts of Nashville, where Middle Tennessee State University is. That will be June 5th. So y'all make sure to check that out. Colorado Springs, May 29th, Evansville, Indiana, June 1st, and Murfreesboro, Tennessee, June 5th are our upcoming shows. So, so I talked to Jimmy on his podcast, and he's the building guy there, and they listen to our podcast, so that was fun chopping it up with those guys last week.
Yeah, very cool. And maybe when we're in Murfreesboro, we can get Jameson or Tracy or somebody to come out and jump up with us.
Yeah, that'd be good. I talked to Cody about that. We're going to try to get a mobile rig to keep on the bus so we don't have to try to pack our podcast gear and take it with us, because I would love to, once we're back on the road rocking, record some of these out, on the weekends when we're out, and then put them out the following week. So, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Last thing I really got today is this week in country music. I had a few cool ones here I wanted to run by everybody. I thought were pretty neat. I wanted to say this one, 1959. This week in country music in Marshville, North Carolina, a young Randy Travis was brought into this world. The singer, actor, has been in the game since 1985 and has recorded 20 studio albums, charted over 20 number one hits, considered a pivotal figure in the history of country music. Travis broke through in the mid-1980s with the release of his album Storms of Life, which sold more than 3 million copies. The album established him as a major force in neo-traditional country movement. So, happy birthday to our brother Randy Travis, which we've talked to him. We didn't work it out the other week, but he's going to come on the cast with us with his wife, Mary, and we're going to chit-chat with them at some point here in the next couple of months.
We got to do that.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen. That last time we just was they had friends in, and we were coming through Texas, and we had those storms, and so we may even do that from his ranch because he invited us out there. So maybe we'll do a remote spot from Randy's ranch. That'd be cool. I want to say also this week was born in 1978. Got a year on me. Is our buddy songwriter extraordinaire, Mr. Luke Laird. Was born in Hartstown, Pennsylvania.
Luke.
This way. Yep. Happy birthday, Luke. Another big wrestling fan there. Shout out, brother Luke.
Love Luke.
Yeah, good dude. In 87, Randy Travis released his second studio album, Always and Forever, which became his second U.S. country number one record. Singles, Too Gone, Too Long, I Won't Need You Anymore, Always and Forever, Forever Never Amen, I Told You So, all reached number one off that album. 1999, Tim McGraw put his album out, A Place in the Sun. We're both big Tim fans. Please Remember Me, Something Like That, My Best Friend, My Next 30 Years, Some Things Never Change, all went number one off that album.
That was a huge album.
Yeah.
Huge album.
And then this...
Please remember me.
Yeah,
I want to say Rodney Crowell wrote that song, but I could be wrong.
That sounds like a Rodney-esque type deal. Nice afro, old Rodney Crowell. And then the last one here is it would be the anniversary of the flooding on the Cumberland River in Nashville in 2010. May 2010 was the flood.
That. We played in Indianapolis the night before and came through. Indianapolis is 4 or 5 hours from Nashville, and we came through and we're like, oh my gosh. It was crazy.
Craziest thing I've ever seen. And if you've ever been downtown Nashville and seen the river down there, you look at it, you just think, there's no way this thing would ever fill up. I mean, it's too big.
No, it was nuts.
And I remember I was living out in Whites Creek.
I live there still.
Yeah, I was in town. I was living out in Whites Creek, and I remember I had to go to a wedding that Saturday. So we left Friday, and it just started raining when me and my buddy left town to go to Birmingham for this wedding. And then Saturday during the wedding, I'm getting calls from my roommates at the time sending me pictures like, dude, it is flooding. I'm like, oh, really? It's raining? They're like, no, it's flooding. Like the field's flooded. Like it's on the first step of the porch. I'm like, huh? Because there's not even a creek near where I was living. I mean, there was White's Creek, but it was on down.
No, it was crazy.
And then we got back to town.
Crazy.
Yeah, we got back to town Sunday morning, and it was flooded, but it was like the stuff was draining. We're like, oh, it's bad. So by the time we get to the house, we start watching the news, and that's when they had quit letting the water flow, and the water just kept rising and rising and rising and rising. And then that's when it flooded the Ryman, all of Lower Broadway. I mean, the LP Field. I mean, the Opry House. Everything out there just got. I mean, that was some wild stuff seeing that. So this would be the anniversary of that happening in May, so glad.
Golly, man!
And
I forgot all about that.
And Jameson talking about bad weather. I saw Nashville or Central Tennessee get another round of tornadoes today, so hopefully it doesn't cause too much damage or hurt anyone. And I want to say another thing I saw this morning to everybody in Mexico City. They had a big train wreck down there. A train cart broke through a tunnel above a road there, and man, lost a lot of lives there. Just want to send thoughts and prayers out to everybody down in Mexico City. Hope everybody can get this cleaned up, figure out what went wrong, and hopefully it never happens again. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Not leave on a somber note, but that's just what happens in the world from time to time. But I've had a good time catching up with you, buddy. I know we didn't get to talk much this past week, and probably won't see each other much until we get back out on the road. So hope everybody enjoyed our new brother, Jameson Rogers, coming on this week and talking about his new album, In It for the Money. Y'all go check that out. Go to JamesonRogers.com. Look at what all he's got going on. Stay updated on his tour dates and whatnot. I want to say thank you again to Matthew McConaughey for coming on last week and joining the podcast. And look forward to having Dylan next week. And that's about it for me.
Yeah, man. Just echo JR's thoughts. Thanks to Jameson for coming on. Thanks again to Matthew for coming on last week. And thank you guys for listening, watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, all of those things. We very much appreciate it. And send us some comments and let us know, you digging the guests? Are you not? Be kind to us.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, thank you guys for listening and watching and making this podcast a success. This was just a thought bubble of ours a year ago or whatever it's been, and the fact that it's been so successful is very, very cool. Every time I do a radio interview, JR, now a staple question is to ask about this particular podcast, which I think is a sign of legitimacy and, the fact that, it's been a success, and that doesn't happen without you guys listening and watching each and every week and again, liking, subscribing, and commenting and all that stuff. So thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Yep.
And again, thanks to our guests, and look forward to talking to Dylan next week, and look forward to hopefully seeing you here coming up pretty much shortly. And to all of the moms out there, including my wife and my mother, I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Yes.
A happy Mother's Day. Enjoy it with your family and friends, or I guess just family, but hope it's a great day for you.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Speaking of that, and definitely like Justin said, use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when you tag us on social media at JR the Handler, at Justin Cole Moore. Remember to like, subscribe, rate, all that fun stuff, and use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast. And speaking of Mother's Day, if you hadn't got your mother a present right now, you can go to Justin's merch page and use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast and get 10% off your merchandise order today. And look for that new NFT shirt we've got going on Justin's website. Be a great little Mother's Day gift, and hopefully it'll get there in time if you go ahead and order as soon as you hear this. If not, it'll be a belated present. And also, you can go to jrthehandler.com. Like I said, I've got a link to all my new merch on there, and I've got all the sizes, and you got different colors now. You don't have to go with the standard color I've been using. So y'all go check that out and get them some later presents. And if you're too late, get your dad a present and go ahead and have that, so you're not running behind when it comes Father's Day, because that'll be around the corner before you know it. And I've got a guy going to come around Father's Day, speaking of guests, that's going to come on, and he just wrote a children's book. It's another songwriter, Brent Cobb, Grammy-nodded songwriter and entertainer himself in the Americana world and country music. He just came out with a children's book, and he's a father like you, so I figured we'd bring him on around Father's Day. So it's another little surprise for everybody, a little teaser on that. Go to Justin's website, go to Handler website, order some merch. Go check out Justin's website and look for those tour dates I was talking about earlier, and further tour dates. It should be updated now. I just talked with our website guy to get all the dates updated. So what's on there now is what we should be playing, and going and order you some tickets now before those sell out, because I know a few of these are going to be like the pod type things or some sort of limited stuff still for the time being. So get on there now and get your tickets. And if you do use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast, tag us on stuff, please use that hashtag, and send us some pics. If you get some merch or get a new album or you're partying to Justin's new songs or anything like that, send us some pics. Use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out on the podcast. We may do some kind of little bonus reel here on social media where we just give a bunch of all the pictures we get of people in the merch we put out or something cool like that. So So y'all use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast. Tune back in next week. Hit that notification thing, and it'll let you know when we pop up and ready to rock. And we'll see y'all next week here, on which will be episode 14 of season 3. And that's part of it. Just we stayed the course. We didn't give up. And hopefully we've gotten better. So y'all let us know that too on the comments. Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Should we just hang it up? I almost thought about last week after we had McConaughey on. I was just like, well, that's it. I mean, what else are we going to do after this? I mean, should we just?
We probably should have just shut the mic off.
Yeah, rode off into the sunset. That's it.
Never broadcast again.
Yeah, that's it. Where do you go from that? But luckily we did. We had Jameson on, and he was great. And
exactly. He was a great follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was perfect timing for have him on. So perfect time to have the Justin Moore Podcast on is every week Thursday. Y'all be sure to hit that notification button so you'll have it as soon as it drops. And I'm JR the Handler. That's Justin Cole Moore. We'll see you guys right back here next week on the Justin Moore Podcast.
See ya.
Cheers. For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels. And the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels. Number 68, chewing it up and spitting it out. Do not be among those who give pledges, among those who become guarantors for debts. Proverbs 22:26. There was a time in my career when I was faced with tremendous debt. When I looked at it as a lump sum, it seemed almost insurmountable and threatened to cost me everything I had worked so hard for so many years. Giving up was one option, but one that never crossed my mind. I prayed for God's help and sought competent counsel. I let all my creditors know that they would be paid over time. Then we set about removing this burdensome albatross from my neck. It was one of the most successful times of my life and seriously increased the amount of show dates we had to play to provide the revenue to clean up the debacle. Vowing to never let it happen again, we went nose to the grindstone and put our hand to the plow. The debts were a tangled mess. In deferring amounts and spreading out among many creditors, we paid everything we could on each of them monthly. We applied the Dave Ramsey method. Any extra money we had at the end of the month was applied to the smallest debt we had until it was paid in full. Then we started on the next smallest debt and repeated the procedure until we were able to burn the paid-off notes in my front yard. Hallelujah. A big problem is usually a series of little problems. Study it, separate it into increments, prioritize the increments, and then deal with them. Let's all make the day count.